We are live tonight, all over the internet. This review is literally X-rated. what? What? What did I just watch, man? What? What did I just watch? This. I don't know. I have no words for this, man. I don't know how to tell you they were finger banging. Okay, get it? That I don't. This. I'm already in trouble. Yeah, It's over. I. I have no words. I mean, two words: finger bang. What did I just watch, man? What in the hell did I just watch? Look, I'm already in trouble. My name is Jason J. Daniel. You're probably going to unfollow me after this review tonight, but I don't know what else to tell you, dude. I don't know what else to tell you, man. Let me do a sound check really quick. This review is X-rated. Just want to tell you that. Okay, here we are. Sorry, I have to do a sound check. Thanks for watching me live. I'm still, it takes me like, okay, I'm still trying to process this. And one thing is clear to me: this show is just fucking dead. It's done. What also blows me away is I found out tonight, I should have already known this, they have already been renewed for a third season. What are you going to do in season 3 when you can't even get out of episode 3 of season 2 and have a good show? This show is shit. Honestly, like there were some redeeming qualities to this show, but they don't even know how to take advantage of that. Like, I'm just blown away. So my name is Jason J. Daniel. There's your intro. Hey, one thing is clear to me, that this show is just dead without Pedro Pascal. It really is. It's fucking done. It's a mess. I'm going to be cussing a lot tonight. I'm sorry. I'm going to cuss a lot. I'm going to probably make you regret watching this episode. I am, let me just reiterate this. My name is Jason J. Daniel. This is the Jason J. Daniel Show. Thanks for watching. We're live on X. We're live on Rumble. We're live on YouTube. Not on Facebook tonight. You know why I'm not live on Facebook tonight? Because all my family follows me on Facebook. I have 4,000 followers on Facebook, and they're all like Christians, and they're all like, they're, kind of right leaning, very religious. Just it's my tame crew. You got your certain followers on certain apps that are your tame crew. All my peeps on Facebook, not what they're not watching this one. They're not watching this review. So if you even care, please follow me, follow and sub. I'm still trying to figure out. Nobody says I'm pregnant and then gets big. I'm sorry. The stuff they did tonight was just like low IQ theater, man. I'm like, what? Look, I'll get to it. I'm always down for a good sex scene. There's nobody more down for that than me. But that was just cringy and weird. It just was wrong. Did not flow right. And I'm not talking about, I'm jumping ahead. I'm okay with them doing it. It's not that. It's just how that went down. It ruined the action before. We'll get into it. So again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. Please follow me on all the socials. Please subscribe. YouTube at Jason J. Daniel. Would greatly appreciate that. So I'm reviewing this piece of shit show. I mean, I got to tell you, I was really thinking they were going to knock it out of the park, and they did have an action sequence that was quite good. I'm not going to say phenomenal, but it was close to that. It was really great. And then they fucked that entire thing up by going right to a preposterous sex scene that just felt like it was written by a bunch of frat guys. Honestly, I understand maybe I don't understand what they're trying to do here, but again, I'm jumping ahead, but I'm just still processing. And maybe the show, maybe that's good. Maybe that's good TV when you are just trying to figure out what in the fuck you watched. I'm just astounded by the level of low IQ-ness I mean, they put a music video in this episode. We'll get to it. It's just, well, let me jump to. Well, first, let me say this is a film study. You should know this. My name is Jason. Again, I'm an actor. I'm working. I'm studying writing. I study film. This is part of my own personal education, film study, TV study. I've picked The Last of Us to be my film study now because last year it was awesome. Like to a certain point. I mean, it started off really shitty, and I had a lot of criticisms, but the last half was fantastic all through. It was just so good. And then this season started, and it's just getting worse for me. So understand this is a film study. I'm not here to worship the show. I'm not here to say how great it is or to compare the video game. You can go to other places for that. The video game doesn't matter to me. I just need you to understand it doesn't matter to me. So there's that. So that's how you watch my reviews. So a couple of things that I do want to say is another thing I want to say is memo to the new viewers. This is a mature film study where now tonight it's fucking X-rated, of course, because we have to get into it. Some shit that went down. But the memo to new viewers is this is a mature study. If you're a teenager, you shouldn't be watching this, honestly. In fact, you shouldn't be watching this show. But don't send me comments hating on me because I'm not worshiping the video game, because that's not what I'm doing here. So please understand, in my world, the video game does not matter. Okay, that's the rule. Okay, so that's the memo. Okay, it's a mature film study. This is wild. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Let me just get to it. I gave this episode 3 stars. It started off with 1 star, and then it kept going and got to 2 because Isaac showed up. Jeffrey Wright, I think is the actor's name, who's fantastic. Josh Peck was added to the cast. They did some cool casting. It started off cool, and then it just really went downhill. And so it was even though it's 3 stars, I'm considering the worst of the season. And the reason why I'm giving it 3 and making it the worst is simply because Isaac, the character Isaac was introduced, which that's the guy I was looking for. Okay. This is the guy I was waiting for. So I was excited about that. It was a weird scene. It was a really brutal scene. We'll get into that. I was really impressed. This is the bad guy I'm looking for. And then they've jammed in this fucking ridiculous. I can't even. I was just like, I was trying to be cool, but I'm like, what? The most ridiculous scene I've ever seen in a television show that's an action show. They did 2 ridiculous scenes. It's so disjointed. So they jam in a music video. Essentially, it was so dumb. The heroes did not do smart stuff at all. Stuff they just would not do, which again makes me crazy. Even if it's fantasy, this is based heavily in a reality dystopian apocalyptic scenario. So there are rules. So they did dumb stuff. Isaac was great, like I said, and there was an action scene that was so good. Okay. Really good. It did have a dumb moment in it, but we got through it. Is it Isabel, the actress that plays Dina? I have to say, she's got to be the best actress on this show. Much better. I haven't even had my shot yet. We got to get into that. Much better than Bella Ramsey tonight. Where's my other? There it is. Much better than Bella Ramsey. But Bella held her own in it, so we'll get into that. And when I do my reviews, if you're new, I like to break down the acting and the writing and all that. So we got to, honestly, guys, we got to go big shot tonight. You can't really see it with that graphic, but whoa, that is on the line. I don't know if you. Ooh. All right, did not expect that. Let's see how steady. How steady is my hand? Woo! That was. I'm a professional alcoholic. Okay, so tonight's. I forgot to tell you guys what we're doing. I do have a drink with my TV reviews. Tonight we're doing New Amsterdam. Nice little frosty bottle I have here. So some vodka. That's a legitimate size shot, not a double. Kind of hard to see where that's at in there. And then we're doing some Topo Chico, blueberry sparkling mixer. Okay. I was actually looking forward to this drink because I needed a drink, man. Here we go. Oh man, that was good. I could taste the vodka in that. There was a great, and Dina had this great line. She's like, "What the fuck?" They walk into this area. We'll get into it. It looks like Predator with people hanging upside down with their guts coming out. I hate that stuff, but as I get older, I have a hard time watching that kind of stuff. I don't know. When I was younger, no big deal. But so Dina says, "What the fuck is wrong with Seattle?" It was just a great. It was a great line because by then they'd seen so much weird shit. Um, it was hilarious. They had some finger banging, and look, I'm a fan of sex in movies. Look, again, I'm going to get in trouble tonight, so forgive me. Look, I'm not opposed to it. It was just a complete ruination of an insane moment where Dina finds out that Bella Ramsey's character Ellie is immune to the bite, and it was a cool. The way they did it was so cool. Did not see it coming. Cool. I really feel like they have so many different writers on this show, and I know there are two dudes that take credit for it. And they come on at the end of every episode. They do the recap episode. There are two dudes that take credit for it, but there's got to be a third or fourth writer that does the action because the action scenes are so freaking good. But then you got this other stuff that just doesn't match up. And so clearly there's different levels of writing in here. They're at a point where they're so successful. This is clear to me. These guys are so successful right now with this show that they just don't fucking care. They just don't fucking care. They're just trying to give you the video game now, which is absolutely preposterous. So that's why it's disjointed. It's disjointed like a video game, and I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I think they're doing it because they just don't know what they're doing. Literally, you've got, I think the action person is writing for TV, and then you've got these two yahoos that made the video game. Look, they're rich and famous, cool, whatever. Whatever. But they're just not good TV writers. And they even mention I do watch the behind the scenes sometimes a little bit while I'm getting ready for this. I have in the background because I don't want what they're saying. I don't watch the whole thing because I don't want what they're saying to kind of take away from what I'm going to say because I have my thoughts and I got to just get them out, you know. But these guys are they're really like proud of themselves with the video game thing. And you know, look, I'm proud of you too. Thank you. You know, you're writing a show. It's cool, whatever. But without the video game, we wouldn't be watching the show. I'm kind of going to ask myself, why am I even fucking watching the show now after tonight? I'm stuck. Like, I'm stuck with you guys. I'm committed to this. I have to finish this. I don't want to be a quitter because if it gets better, I'm going to be wanting to like do a show again and be like, well, if I didn't continue the shows, it's just going to be disjointed for me. But the TV guys are doing their best here. But like I said, with the Game of Thrones situation, the dude that wrote Game of Thrones, they kept him out of it. Like he was a consultant, but they said, dude, we're going to take your source material. We're going to run out too of material. So we're going to have to make it up as we go along. And so that was the deal they had. And it worked great. I think GOT has got to be number 3 top show of all time. But these guys just don't, it's backwards. They like have a few TV writers and these guys are driving the show. They got to fix this. Now maybe in season 3, I could be wrong. I'm hearing that they are going to hit a point where they're going to go beyond the material. And that's when it will really thrive because they'll need help because these guys just don't know what they're doing on TV writing. They have a lot of money. They're putting a lot of money in the show. Cool. They're doing a lot of stuff that they're just fantasy wish list stuff, right? Like they did a music video thing in it, which was so fucking dumb. Like I was like, are we doing this? And they did it. They did pretty much 5 minutes of a music video. Ellie singing a song. It was just so dumb. And I'm like, if this was a romance, cool. It's not a romance. But now it clearly is. Okay, so after tonight, it's a romance. Now, I understand that they might be doing this in order to do something super tragic moving forward. I get that. Okay. I understand that in order to make, I guess, Ellie super miserable, like apparently that they want to do with the protagonist, you got to bring people in that they care about and do bad things to them, like Joel, right? So once Joel's gone, this character, what do you do with it, right? Where's the motivation? Um, I just don't think they understand motivation. I don't. Like, I don't. I'm not. Look, I'm not a TV writer like them. I'm only working on it. I'm not. I'm not rich and famous like these guys are. But I'm gonna be honest. I don't think they know what they're doing with character development. I don't. And I think that they're completely like locked into this video game thing, which I think all of us would appreciate if they just move away from it. But they're not. Their ideas are going to be stuff that they wanted to do for the video game, stuff they did, the copying it for the video game, like the music video scene. They're saying, they were saying, this is like a fan favorite. That's what they said at the end of the episode in the BTS. This scene was a fan favorite, so we recreated it. I was like, what? Not my favorite? I thought I was a fan. Just asshole. They're just out. I think these guys are just being assholes to us. The folks that don't like the video game or don't care for the video game. I can't say I don't like it. I just never played it. Not that I'm opposed to it. Like I played Elder. The fuck's the name of that? Elder Ring. Elden Ring. I don't know. I play Grand Theft Auto. I play video games. I like sports games more than the other stuff. Okay, so it's not like I haven't played video games, but it's just like, what in the hell, man? Do we have to be subject to the whims of these video game dudes? Now, one thing is really clear to me. I'll say it again. The show's dead without Pedro. It's over. So I'm not looking for the show to be better. I'm not. I'm not even rooting for it to be good now. After what I saw tonight, I was like, they just don't care. Like they clearly have these episodes written out and they're just going to execute them. And they're not going to go with the flow of a story being created. Like it's super disjointed. There was a few moments in there where I was like, now we're cooking, literally. Isaac, we're watching. There were actually 3 scenes that were well done. And I noticed there was one director on here, but honestly, I don't think there was one director. I think one director got the credit for it, but I think someone else directed the better scenes. I do. Because just the scenes that didn't work were just bad. I don't know. I think either the showrunners are like influencing the directors. I don't know, man. Look, it's a hard gig to be a director, and I don't want to put her down. I didn't catch her. I caught her name. I don't have it here. I could look at the IMDb. Who is it directed by? It'll say, I just don't want to be, it's not obvious here, but I just don't want to be like that negative on the director, but like this whole thing was just disjointed. To me, it was like the tale of 2 episodes. It felt like that they threw, a bunch of episodes together, which is kind of weird. It feels like they put 2 or 3 episodes together where the first part of the show was really shitty. And then they got into the action stuff, and that was like a whole nother show to me. It was like dope. And then and even Bella Ramsey's acting, it was just different. The direction was different. You could tell the tone was different. And then they got to the end of the action scene, which is the end of the show, and they did something completely stupid, just preposterous. So I just saw it as the tale of 2, maybe 3 shows. Again, if you're just joining me, this show deserved 2 stars because I would give it 2 stars for the action. Everything else was just junk. But I gave it 3 stars only because I thought the action rose to the level of I just couldn't give it a 2-star, and like that would just be, I guess, I thought disrespectful to the work the actors did and the production and everybody did on the action scene. It was very complicated. Action scenes, very complicated. They had a lot going on, a lot of actors. They finally brought the cordyceps back, so I had to give it 3 stars. But again, I'm giving you my quick review, and then we'll get into the details. We'll break the show down. Usually, if you're new, that's what I kind of do. I give you a half hour of me just complaining, and then the other half hour we break the show down. I'm just really blown. I was blown away at how bad and disjointed it was. And again, I wrote here a tale of 2 episodes, but now that I'm thinking about it, it just really feels like the tale of 3 episodes. I feel like I I want to be I want to be I'm kind of at a loss for words because like I understand. Let's get into the LGBTQ perspective of this. Look, you can't ignore that in the show. It's not only was it a theme. Okay, now this episode they hit us over the head with it and said this show is now LGBTQ, the lesbian love story. That's going to be a major plot. A major plot focus. And it wasn't a major plot focus last year. The major plot focuses were survival, cordyceps dudes, Joel's character development, which was more primarily than Ellie's. As Joel developed, Ellie developed, right? Which is kind of like the dad and daughter thing. As a parent goes, the child will go, and then they developed into that. Well, then they take him out, which was dumb. Super dumb. It's dumber now for the television show than I suppose it would be for a video game, because now they're really rudderless. They're super lost without Pedro Pascal. But I get it. He's got a lot to do, and he's not. Honestly, the truth is, the show's so bad, he would probably be like, write me out, because the guy is like high level. He's probably worth a quarter. He's probably worth $250 million. Everything he has done is like been $1 billion stuff. Like his movies and TV shows combined have probably grossed $2 billion. Like he's so famous, and he's got Fantastic Four coming out. I just saw the preview for that today. I went to see Thunderbolts, which was a mess, but it's serviceable. Not as that was better than this. But he's gonna obviously do a lot of Marvel stuff. He had to clear the slate for that. The guy has the world at his fingertips. Why would he be a part of this shitty show? I would bail out. So he was probably like, thank God, write me out. So anyway, let's get back to the LGBTQ theme. If you're watching this show and you're uncomfortable with it, you just have to stop watching, because they're clearly going to do more hardcore stuff. Like this tonight, they did a hardcore scene that I wasn't like surprised by it, but I was surprised how fast they went. Well, last week we were like, okay, they flirted with it, and I'm like, okay, well, they didn't even like kind of kiss or do anything. Now they went straight to finger banging. I was like they straight up had a scene where the jeans come down, and okay, X-rated, guys. Okay, I warned you. And Bella goes in, and they're doing the finger bang. It's like, okay, cool. And then it was a short moment, but long enough to be like, okay. And but it came off of her. It just came off of Dina saying I'm pregnant. It just did not work. It felt like a frat guy wrote it. It felt like a dude. It felt like it didn't. So back to the LGBTQ plot line, I didn't think it served it. Like, okay, look, I'm straight, but I can still have an opinion on this. Okay. I just didn't think that the way that was written served the story or the moment. It seemed like somebody's fantasy moment. It just seemed weird. It came off of like this whole drama of Dina being afraid of Ellie transforming. There was, a lot going on. So I don't think two people in that moment, especially again, we have the situation where you've got everybody attacking you. Okay. You've got all these guys looking for you. You've got cordyceps, like 100 of them going wild. They got their rest and they're vicious. You just escaped a major trauma. You haven't eaten. You're exhausted. It's raining outside. You're you're being hunted, and you stop to have like a finger bang. Like it made no sense. And so I just think look, I guess I can't have an opinion, but I can, because there's a part of me that I understand. I'm adult. I've grown. I lived a little. Okay, I understand what real life is, and that just was completely a ridiculous moment. So I don't know if it's in the video game, but whatever, dudes. have at it. I just was like, whatever. So I'm, again, video game dudes, remember my rule. So we'll get into it in a second, but just remember my rule is it doesn't matter to me. The video game doesn't fucking matter. So maybe that's why I'm just feeling so out of touch with this show. When last year I didn't feel that at all. I felt very connected at moments. I rewatched last season and did not have any feeling of disjointedness. Not like this. In fact, like they had very clear scenes that were like, for example, the homosexual couple, the gay couple, that they had a whole episode on them. Was it 3 or 4? That was a very romantic, very robust episode. It served the characters well. It served the story. It didn't feel out of place. It was now them chilling for 15 years when the zombie apocalypse was ridiculous with their armory and them just, that was dumb. But in general, it was a good episode. Okay. And that theme was well served. So I'm okay with you making that a very central theme. And that was controversial. A lot of people weren't feeling it because they're like, it's a zombie show. Why do we have to do this? Okay, cool. We've accepted that. But now we're at a point to where it is clearly the agenda of this show is we're going to be very romantic, and it's not going to make sense to you, but we're doing it because we want to do it. And I can work with that, but it's dumb. It's dumb for a TV show, and it's dumb for people like me who want a television show to be entertaining and be not disjointed and flow and be what it's. This is an action show. This is a zombie show, but not anymore. Now the zombies showed up, but it didn't matter to them. I don't know. It's just. And look, you might be mad at me. Whatever. I have my opinion. I'm just telling you, it's bad TV. Bad TV. So remember, the video game doesn't really matter. Something I want to bring up. I was doing my research because I thought, okay, maybe I'm being kind of hard on the show because I posted some clips on TikTok. Obviously, I post on X, and I was getting a lot of negativity. When I was being critical of certain things that were preposterous, I was getting some negativity. And I haven't had the ability to feel good about an episode yet. Not even at all close. I mean, last week, maybe. But no, the week before 4.5. But that was because that wasn't perfect. To get a 5, you got to be perfect. But so I was doing my research and I thought, okay, am I just being too hard? And I'm not. I'm not being too hard. People are killing this show online. When I went to IMDb, it's like the episode's 8, 7.5. That's just video game people. That's just video game people and actors and people that have an account. That's people that are just brainwashed that this is a good show, or they're brainwashed by the video game. Not a good show. It's just not. The first season was. The season's trash. This will go down like, this is reminding me of House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon was so bad. I had so many high expectations. Season 1 was okay. It got better. Season 2 was just a fucking mess. And then they promised season 3 is going to be great, which is what they promised after season 1. And because of the pandemic and because they can't get their shit together, it's taking forever to get this fucking show out. But I'm addicted to Game of Thrones, so I got to finish it. So that could be our next one we do. I'm looking forward to that. But I was really hard on that show myself. I did a lot of stuff on X. I was hard on that show. But people are killing it online. People on Facebook. I was looking at Facebook. The actual account, HBO account, IMDb account. I was looking at the comments, and people are just murdering this show. And they're going, this show is just trash. And people are frustrated. And it's not just the fact that they're going full social agenda on us. It's that it's just not that well written. And they're doing stuff that's just pissing people off. Like the murder of Joel was just pissed people off. It pissed me off. And this just disjointed writing is super terrible. So I'm not the only one. So I wanted to get into since I've seen people killing it online. I did get a comment that I thought would be interesting. I've get a number of comments on X, TikTok, and Facebook, but I thought let me read this comment from a follower, not really a follower of me, but somebody who watched it. I followed you back, my friend. And there was a comment on X, and I thought it was interesting. The comment was, this is from Quirky Pearson, and on his IG, it's Fulleramy. He's at FOLAREMY. I reposted him if you want to check it out. He said, so this was on the, okay, so last week I talked about the LGBTQ tent scene where they had the flirtation and Dina was really going hard on it, but Ellie was like, what? Just kind of like the dude missing it. Man, maybe that's what they were trying to do. But nothing happened in the tent, and it was the same kind of thing they did this week. They took it to a way another level. Did not see this coming. But so he commented on that, my comments on it. My comment was, what the hell? It didn't pay off. Do some kind of kissing or sex or something, or have a zombie attack. They were just chilling in a tent. If you're watching the show, you know what I'm talking about. Go back to the last episode. Okay. He said, this is exactly what I came to look for. It made no sense to me that they weren't worried at all about being attacked by something out there while casually conversing in the tent in the bushes with the lights in the tent. Yeah, that's a good point. The lights were on. Lights in the tent on. Made absolutely zero sense, he said. Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you. Yes, I agree. Thank you so much, sir. I followed you back. Thank you for your comments. And guys, if you have comments, give me your comments on. You can comment live if you're watching this right now and you actually put a comment. I can see it on the software I'm using, so you can do that. Or you can at Jason J Daniel. You can comment on the show on X or on YouTube or Rumble. So thank you, sir, for your comment. So that was validating. Now, the comments I read last week were people talking about, I didn't understand the video game. And so whatever. So that brings me to, let me just take this graphic off. So that brings me to notes for last week's show. So sorry. I have some carbonation in here. Okay. So last week's show, so every week I try to rewatch the show, right? So I got a chance to rewatch kind of half of last week's show. With there's things going on, I'll put it on the background. But something stood out to me. Now, I wanted to bring this up. I do have a few notes. Now, one of the things I want to bring up is, I don't know if you noticed, but when the theme song and when the graphic comes up with all the cordyceps, thing, and it looks very Game of Thronesy, which is what they're trying to do. Sorry. A little drop there. Party foul. You'll notice at the end of it, when the song da 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 ends, you would notice in the first season they'd have a weed that looked like Joel and a weed that looked like Ellie, like this. Well, that weed is gone and it's just one weed. So keep your eyes out for that. It happened again. So they did it last week and this week. So moving forward, so clearly they'll kind of mess with that. That Game of Thrones did that. They messed with the intro depending on what we were about to see. So they may change that up a little bit, depending on some of the things we learned tonight. So that was interesting. The other thing that I thought was really super interesting, and let me get my other notes here, is did you notice? So going back to last week's episode, just really quick, and then we'll get into the recap. Did you notice that Gail lied to Ellie? Remember when Gail was in the hospital, Ellie had to get discharged. The doctor said, I got one more thing you got to do, one more person you got to talk to. Gail walks in, played by Catherine O'Hara, who's fantastic. She had some moments last week, and this was one of them. And when I was watching it the first time, Gail says to Ellie, Joel had a meeting with me, his therapy, and Joel told me he wronged you. Did you remember that? Now, okay, video game people, you might know where I'm going. Shut up, okay? It's all new to me. So when I first watched it last week, that was like, I don't remember because I watched the show pretty close, clearly. And I was like, I don't remember Joel saying he wronged her. I remember him standing up saying, I saved her, right? And that was a moment. Joel in therapy. Who can forget that? But that was weird to me. I was like, I don't remember that. Okay. So I decided to rewatch it. So I rewatched Gail. So I watched the Gail Ellie hospital discharge scene. Gail said what she said. Okay. And then I rewatched episode 1, just the therapy scene. Interesting enough, there's a moment where Joel looks down. There was a lot of foreshadowing in it. There's a moment where Joel looks down at the shoes in the house where he goes in for therapy, Gail's house. Gail has her shoes and she's got her husband's shoes still there. You find out moments later that Joel had to kill her husband for some reason. They talk about it a few times. Different people did. Jesse mentioned it later on too in the next episode. But in that first episode, he goes in for therapy. So he's looking at those shoes and it's like he was in those shoes, right? Joel was like, he's about to be in someone else's shoes. That was clearly foreshadowing a guy who died, right? That Joel felt connected to. So that was interesting. So some good moments, some good visuals. Anyway, he sits down and he does not say, I watched it again. He does not say I wronged her at all. He didn't get close to it. He said, I saved her. He never said he wronged her. He only said, we're not talking and these kind of things. She said, she's not really your daughter. Then she said, I hate you. The worst therapist ever. The Scale character is just a total piece of work. So I'm thinking maybe Gail becomes some kind of bad person. I don't know. We'll see in the development of the game. Development of the show versus the game. You guys might know. But my question to myself was, why Gail lied to Ellie? Why did she do that? Now I'm thinking, okay, well, somebody in that situation that's devious, who's just sensing something went down. Because in the therapy session, she said to Joel, "Did you do something to her? Did you do something to her?" To imply that he did something. To me, it was like sexual. Like she was like, "Did you touch her?" Like she was almost, to me, she was. The vibe I got in that was, as the actress, she was giving it to us, and she's so good because I hate the character. That's good acting. She makes me hate the character. So that I sense that she was like trying to pressure him. It's like, did you touch her or violate her? And he's like, no. You could tell Joel's like, what? Like, he's like, but he can't tell the truth because that's a dark secret that he's torturing himself with, clearly. So he doesn't say anything close to that. So I pulled the dialogue. Grok pulled the dialogue for me. Dialogue by Grok. I can't find the script online, but I wanted to, and I didn't want to write the dialogue down. That's kind of, there's no point. But I wanted Grok to give me some of the dialogue so I could read it to you. Okay, so by Grok. Grok looked at the episode, and this is what it gave me. So Gail said, in my last moment with now this is the discharge scene with Ellie. So Gail said, in my last moment with Joel, he said he wronged you. She's lying. He did not say that. In my last moment with Joel. So clearly there wasn't an off-camera conversation, right? The characters didn't like talk amongst themselves and we didn't see it. That does happen. And that in dialogue, you can echo that later on and go, okay, well, I had a meeting with this person, and you can make it clearly an off-camera meeting and you can say what happened. She clearly says, in my last time with Joel, my last moment, he said he wronged you. Maybe bad. What did he mean by that? He said he wronged. Maybe. What did he mean by that? And Ellie goes, well, Ellie was being a douche. And she goes, well, you could tell, like, as the actress, it affected her. And she said, I don't know what he's talking about. He saved me a lot of times. And then Gail says, well, he said I saved her. But it didn't make sense. Now, that's true. And Gail keeps on pressing Ellie. And then later on in that later on in the episode last week, Gabriel Luna, Tommy, who we don't see this week, or Gail, they're starting to do that thing, but they're just not doing it well. They take people, and then they just. We should have saw some Jackson Hole. Again, it's disjointed. The story's not flowing. And they even did a time jump in this one and all that. I hate that stuff. When you're disjointed, time jumps don't help. So anyway, So Tommy goes to Gail later on and says, hey, they have this little thing about Ellie, and Gail says she's a liar. And that brings us to, so food for thought. That brings us to our recap. Let's get into it. Okay. Oh, let me take off this graphic. Let's get into our recap. I forgot to, here's the side note. No Abby. After all that in season 2, no Abby. I'm sorry, episode 2. And we had this is 2 episodes. We don't see Abby. Killing me, man. Killing me. But let's recap season 2, episode 4. I was not ready for this. I was clearly not ready for the finger bang, but and the video, the music video. We'll get to that later on. But so that being said, off of Gail, let's talk about this. So we're gonna recap. So we go into our montage. Where's my? I gotta get my pages right. So then we go into our montage. Okay, here we go. So we go into our montage. And in the montage, it's very interesting to me. It's a very quick montage of the last episode, and it's Gail. Now, I was planning on talking about Gail. They feature Gail, and Gail says, some people are not, what did she say? She said, some people just can't be saved. She said that to Tommy. And that's after Gail called her a liar. Like she's not somebody who lies. Gail made the distinction. She's not somebody who lies. She's a liar. Like essentially saying it's in her nature. She goes to the lie before the truth. A lot of people like that. So that was interesting. Okay, so we get into the beginning of the show. So let me take this graphic off. We go into we do a time jump. So after the quick montage, we go back to 2018 with the Fedra guys. I didn't quite know what Fedra meant, but I noticed on the patch it said Federal Disaster Response Agency. So these guys are in Seattle. This is 11 years ago versus now where Ellie and Dina are at. And there's a scene there. They've got Josh Peck shows up. Drake and Josh, my man, he shows up. In Oppenheimer, he had his own show. Turner and Hooch, I think, on Disney. Guy's popping. He's cooking. I like his style. He's just taking he's working with good people. And then Jeffrey Wright is in there. I think he won an Oscar, didn't he? Jeffrey Wright, a fantastic actor. So these guys are dressed up. They're all doing the Fedra thing. They're in like a paddy wagon kind of thing, and they're driving. I hit my mic. They're driving forward. Okay. So they're driving and they're having this conversation. They're not driving, but they're in the back. And so they're just talking, shooting the shit as like soldiers would. And they tell a weird sex joke, which was odd. It was like, okay, this is weird. So this show got really sexual. And again, look, nobody loves sex more than I guess me. That came out weird. Nobody likes interesting dialogue. There we go. More than me. But it was weird. So it was almost like a Quentin Tarantino kind of thing, because Tarantino would have dialogue with a bunch of people like Reservoir Dogs. And then, they'd have like a weird sex joke or a joke that went on too long or it made no sense. Then they'd all argue the joke, right? They break it down. So it was kind of one of those things, but you sensed something was going to happen. So we got 2 really good actors. Now, again, remember, I was really concerned about something. Keep in mind, one of the things please follow and sub, by the way. One of the things I was really concerned with was, can Bella Ramsey's acting solely carry this show? Clearly it can't. Okay. Because her character's not going to carry the show. It's clear to me they're going to try to work in an ensemble of characters around her character. So what she does will probably be pivotal to affecting everyone, but I don't see her carrying the show like Pedro Pascal. Like most every scene has Pedro in it last season, a lot of the scenes. They're just not doing that with her. So I think her acting as in the future, maybe next season, if I'm still watching it, maybe it could then, but her acting is not carrying the show, but it's fine. It's good. It's action dialogue and then romantic dialogue. Again, stuff she can do. It's not complicated. She didn't have, but she can do some emotional. She has range. I don't want to take away from her, but at this point, they're bringing in some heavy hitters, and I was really concerned about like where's the star power going to come from, right? And that's what I was concerned about. Um, so we got a couple of stars in here. Now that's all we see of Josh Peck. That's all we see. I get okay. Well, we'll get into what goes on. So the scene was way too long though. It was like, what? They're losing me. I'm like, here we go, man. Just what? It was just not interesting dialogue. The sex joke was weird. Um, and then it got interesting. So you see Jeffrey Wright in there. He's like the Sarge, I think, and he's super grumpy with these cats, which you could get that. You know, he looks annoyed. He looks like, okay, I'm tired of this shit. These guys need to shut up. The Josh Peck character is like holding court. There's a youngin in there. You can tell this guy's like, hey guys, like I'm the new guy. There's always that guy, right? All these like, you got the seasoned guys, ha ha ha. Then you got the young guy, and then you got the old grumpy dude, leader. That you see that in Die Hard. You see that in all sorts of movies. It's a thing that it's a trope. Okay, they're going very trope here. Then they stop, and then they get stuck, and they're kind of trapped. And again, this was a time jump. This was 11 years ago. And there's all these townspeople come out. They're calling them voters. I guess it's derogatory because they took away the right to vote. Whatever. Who cares about voting? You're trying not to get eaten in the balls by a cordyceps, dude. I'm not running to the polls, baby. I'll mail my ballot in if there's cordyceps running through the streets. You can elect whoever the fuck you want. It's not gonna matter. Jeez. So apparently voting is the thing, or taking away their rights to vote, which was kind of like a thing. I almost felt like they threw that. Now that I'm talking about it, it seemed like a throwaway line, like a social justice thing. Like, you know, we're not getting our right to vote in the world, so we got to. It was missed. It was weird. So so they open up the paddy wagon and they're looking out there, and Jeffrey Wright decides he's going to go out. Okay, guys, I'm going to go deal with this. There's like 40 townspeople out there, no guns. They're dressed all, Abercrombie and Fitch. My nose is itching again. At least I got halfway through the show this time. So they're Abercrombie and Fitching it. And he's like, don't worry. They don't look threatening, but they're all acting scared of him for some reason. He walks out. He goes and meets the leader, and they do this kind of weird thing, and they know each other. And you're like, okay. And they give each other a look. And then he pulls out the junior guy. He's like, come on, junior leaguer. You can come with me. You'll learn a thing or two. Little do we know, he's protecting the guy. So he pulls out the youngin, leaves these other douchebags in there with Josh Peck inside the paddy wagon. They're kind of hanging out, which makes no sense, but whatever. And they're meeting, and then apparently there's this unwritten like kind of code between them. And then there's a long pause. The actor takes a moment, which was interesting. Jeffrey Wright, and he turns around and then pulls out some hand grenades and walks over, casually tosses them inside the paddy wagon. The guys are like, what the? It surprises them because he just walks right up and then locks them in. Apparently you can lock the door from the outside. The thing blows up. Boom, right? Guys are screaming. He kills them, you think. Now, I have a hard time believing Josh Peck's just going to come in, get paid a lot of money, and then die in like 5 minutes. Maybe. It happens. Guys do it in movies and TVs all the time. Big actors have done it. And then the driver falls out. Jeffrey Wright kills the driver. Then the youngin draws on him because he's confused, and he's like, hey, make a choice. The youngin decides to make a choice. Okay, so we see the guy has Dixon on his outfit. Turns out his name is Isaac Dixon. And then Isaac Dixon, we don't see him until 11 years later. And then boom, cut to the present time. So you've got 11 years later. That puts us in, I guess it's 2029. I did the math, okay? Smart. I'm a smart guy. So that puts us there. And then, so you've got Ellie and Dina. Cut to Ellie and Dina. They're in a pharmacy. They're in like a Walgreens or some shit in Seattle. They're looking for stuff. They say they're looking for painkillers, which by then I'm assuming all the painkillers are probably taken. And then Dina, Ellie's like, yeah, they're not in the same room. They're kind of going back and forth, just yelling, which at this point, I need you to understand the characters are doing dumb things. The heroes would never do this in a situation. It's just dumb. So that's a thing. So that's why I said, look, it's Yeah, it's the heroes are doing dumb stuff, and yeah, I can't really work with that. So um, I'm not going to hold it against them, but it is what it is. I've got to do a sound check here, guys, real quick. Having a little technical difficulty. Anyway, we'll keep streaming. Hopefully, it'll clear itself up. Um, so yeah, so they're in the pharmacy. They're yelling back and forth. Something you just would not normally see. Here we go. Something we're good. All fixed. Something you would not normally see. Our heroes do. And then Dina finds something, but they don't show you what it is. And I was totally lost. I did not, they revealed to you what it is, but I didn't think I didn't think what it was what it was later on. I thought it was a little more sinister. But anyway, she finds something and then says, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and yells that out. So give me some time. Cut to a scene of her coming out. She's acting weird. Bella Ramsey gets her on the horse. Are you cool? And she's like, I'm fine. Dina has a secret. Okay, great. That always works out. Another trope. So Dina has a secret. And then they start riding on. So I see something that stands out to me. So now they're riding through Seattle, and they're doing this shot where you're on the ground, like somebody hiding on the ground, right? And they pan over an old car that has moss all over it. Clearly, it's been there for 10 years. And there's a license plate that's not a license plate. It's a printed out picture, and it's not a plate. You can see there's no dimension to it. I rewound it. I'm like, what? So just the production on that was shitty. They're not trying hard. It just stood out to me. So that's a fail. And then they hit you in the face with this. This is a Pride episode. Okay. So they walk around the corner, they see Pride flags, and then there's a big Pride mural that it's a rainbow heart and says Pride. Okay. Because when they saw the Pride flags, I was like, oh, okay. Pride survived the apocalypse. Pride flags, they weather the storm. And then I'm like, oh, it's a Pride episode. As soon as I said it's a Pride episode, we walk around the corner and the word Pride is clearly written there. It's a Pride episode. And boy, was it. Okay, so there's another foreshadowing. You're about to get some finger banging. It's about to go down. Oh my God, did it. Okay, so Pride flags survive the apocalypse. People don't, but Pride lives on. They find a tank, which is pointless. They're just pointless. They find a tank. Bella wants to go in the tank, slams the tank down. They freak out. They're shouting at each other the whole time. They're out in the open in the daylight. And then because they slam the lid, they try to establish to people there's nobody around for miles, so they can just fuck around. That doesn't make sense. Now, you're assuming that to make sure everyone could have Pride Day, they clear out the zombies, apparently. So apparently you're not worried about zombies, but you should be, because they finally show up. Finally. But we go a whole half episode without zombies. But anyway, they're making all sorts of noise. And then they pull out binoculars and they find a big tower that says, it's like, really? It's like, Dina's like, wait a second. All of a sudden, okay, oh my God. They look and they find they do like the clearly, okay, stand here. You're going to stare at the camera and act like you're seeing. They weren't saying anything, but they just cut to a picture of, look like binoculars, like, that what you see through it. And there was it's a building with WLF written on it in spray paint, like in the largest preposterous letters. Like nobody would have that much spray paint if you to get that kind of big lettering. Who does that, right? You'd have to bring up like a whole you'd have to bring up like 55 cans to get one letter, right? But clearly they did it, and it's very big, and essentially says, come over here. This is the next part of the story. It was like, really? So Ellie's like, let's go get him. And the Dina gives her the voice of reason. Hey, we're going to get killed if we go there. Clearly, it's if the words are written big enough for you to go there, it's a trap. Whatever. Okay. Turn out that wasn't how it went, but that's what she said. So they decide to take shelter in like a record store. But in the middle of this, they're flirting. There's all this flirty stuff. It's getting like, You're just not doing that. Like if you're worried about zombies and shit, you're not sitting around flirting, but apparently they do. So they're flirting. They're doing a whole lot of camera on Dina's eyes, and she's getting all, she's overdoing the sexual stuff with the eyeballs. So clearly, okay. They go into a record store, which is preposterous. They bring the horse in. He's eating in there, and they're walking around in the record store. There's still records there. You can get a Jimi Hendrix. So they're just walking in, shutting the door. Hey, what's up? They're yelling at each other, running upstairs. Dina gets on the drums. It's just dumb, man. Like it's low IQ theater. I mean, you're just not doing that. It's almost like the opposite of A Quiet Place. In A Quiet Place, they didn't say anything. In this TV show where they should be a quiet place, they're a fucking loud place. So she starts banging the drums, playing the piano. Ellie goes upstairs and finds a perfect guitar in the apocalypse, a guitar room. Now the whole room is smashed in, right? There's sunlight coming in. Apparently a bomb dropped on it, but the guitars were fine, whatever. And so I'm just like, is this shit dangerous or not? I mean, really, are we in a dangerous apocalypse or not? Are we really trying to make this a dangerous show, or are we just making this like kids fuck, like young people fucking around? It just makes no sense to me. So then we get a music video. Ellie gets on the guitar, the acoustic, pops it on, sits down and starts playing Aha, Take On Me. Yeah, I know. So she's playing Take On Me, Take Me On, I'll be gone. She does 2 verses, and I'm like, can somebody just fucking shoot her? I'm like, thinking maybe there's a sniper, okay? And she's playing, and a sniper gets her, and that would be cool. No, they make me want to get shot because I got to sit through this. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in a television show. I've seen some bad shit. The worst idea ever. This apparently was a fan favorite. Whatever. So I'm literally hoping someone will attack them. I'm hoping zombies will attack to save me from this. And Dina comes in and sits down, puts a pillow down, folds her legs, and she's just like falling in love with it. And she starts crying. She's crying because of Aha, Take On Me. So I was shocked. Is this what I'm watching? I'm like, we're doing this? She sings 2 whole fucking verses. I mean, look, the last thing I think anybody wants to hear in the apocalypse is Take On Me. But apparently that's like a hot song. I was just way confused by that. And, so apparently Joel gave her lessons, and like, Joel taught you good. So we can blame Joel for this. That's why I'm glad he's dead. All right, thanks, Joel. I'm glad you died miserably because you taught her to sing Take On Me. Thank you. It's Joel's fault. Jesus Christ. Like, how... it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Okay, so we got that. Now, you're going, what did I watch? And then they're like, let's cook. Let's go have some food or whatever. Are you hungry? Okay. Dumb. Like if you're hiding from a killer, you're hiding from an army, which we didn't see, by the way. Apparently now we don't see the army. You're hiding from vicious junior leaguers that killed Joel, but you're not really hiding, and you got cordyceps. You're playing music. You're playing drums. Dumb. It just made no sense. Again, it's video game stuff. So we're in the world of video game stuff. So I'm just going to critique it like that. It makes no sense. It's bad TV. But one thing is clear to me: the show's dead without Pedro. Man, it's still dead without Pedro. They're just killing this show, man. This show's a mess. So I'm literally blown away. I'm just at this point literally blown away. So here's another disjointed moment. So you cut from that to Isaac, the bad guy. And I'm really happy with the bad guy. So he's doing a cooking lesson, which is weird. So I'm like, okay, what is this? It's weird, but it's kind of not ominous. And then you start to realize, oh, this could be like he's getting weird with this dialogue. And then you realize he's cooking, and he's heating up a pan in a gourmet kitchen that's all apocalyptic out. And they cut to a scene of the person he's talking to. He's like talking to a guy, like talking about dating, and like, this is how I'd get women. I'd do some cooking, and I always wanted to own a restaurant. Weird stuff. Then you cut to a scene over here, and there's a full-on naked dude, balls and dick hanging out, like straight up, full frontal, chained to a wall, bleeding and bruised, looking like a mess, naked. He's one of the scar. They call him the scars now. The Seraphimite guys captured, terrible, brutal. It was a freaking scary scene. And after the debacle of Take On Me, that kind of, I was like, okay, it brought me back. I'm like, okay, they're trying to be serious here, because the last scene was not fucking serious. Like, they're not being serious with the show. It's not. By the way, it's not a serious show. This is not. But that moment was serious. I was like, that's crazy. And then he walks over the pan, burns the fucker. The guy screaming. Now, then, then they reveal that he's got some douchebag friends outside. So I'm not sure how Isaac connects to. Not sure how Isaac connects to the junior leaguers, Abby and her people. I just don't know how that works. But it seems like their own kind. They're their own kind of commandos. And then they're their own kind of commandos. And then the guy screams a little bit, but maybe he's got some pain tolerance in the apocalypse. I don't know. But then they cut back and forth to some guys talking about it outside the kitchen. Then they go back in. The guy's like, he stopped screaming. That would just incapacitate people, but he's shaking it off. And then I guess the guy, Isaac, thinks he hasn't gotten enough. He's going to try it again. They have this dialogue. And then the Seraphim guy says, the Scar guy says, hey, we're converting you guys. So we're going to win this battle. You're never going to break me. And then Isaac, now this is Isaac from the beginning, of course. He's more military looking. It looks like he's in good shape. He's wearing combat boots. He pulls out a sidearm and just sends this guy to heaven. Execute him. A lot of execution. This is not a kid's show. I talked about that last week. Not a kid's show. I had kids on TikTok or like teenagers talking shit to me about it. Not a kid's show. Teenagers should not be watching this shit. Maybe if you're 17, 16, but this is 18 plus show. You got a full frontal dong right here. Guy gets shot in the head. Before that, and then later on, it's crazy. So, but wild stuff. Like, I liked the Isaac scene, and he did what I wanted Abby to do. Very menacing, very sinister, clearly a killer, not a problem hurting you. This is what I do. It's only business. That's what you got from him. Wasn't as jolly as Negan. You'll never get that. That would be too much, too on the nose. But it had a very sinister, I don't know, kind of like the Governor. I mean, everything is related. Everything is measured off of Walking Dead. I mean, that's the granddaddy. So kind of like the Governor, kind of a menacing thing there, menacing tone, but doing it for the greater good. So he sends that guy to Seraphim Heaven, and that's it. That's all we see of Isaac. 2 scenes. He got paid well, I'm sure, but he should have been in this. It should have been more of him in this episode and less finger. So. Then, okay, so Ellie, so this is where, okay, boom. So after take me on, after suffering through that, you go to a different show, which is Isaac cooking, torturing the guy, shoots him, kills him, full frontal. Then boom, cut to night. You've got Ellie and you've got Dina, and they're ready to do their assault on this building that says ILF or WML, Wolves or whatever, ML, whatever. Yeah, Wolf, whatever. That building. And so this is where it continues to get disjointed. Okay, so they again, let me remind you that now I gave this one 3 stars. The only reason this got to 3 stars was here, where I'm about to get to. This is where I was at 2 stars up until Isaac showing up, and then what I'm about to talk about now gave it a star. But that's the best I could do, because I was very close to giving it a 3.5. I was very close to 4 with the action, but what they did in the sex scene and all that bullshit just really rained on my parade. Okay, and it made no sense, and it made it too like I don't know. They went right to a weird romance. Isn't that like a Lady Gaga song or something close to that? Following us up, guys. So they do this cool break in. And then I love the acting. You could tell it was a different director because Bella Ramsey looks fierce. She's really good at these action scenes. She's really good at being determined. There was a sense of urgency. They get in here. They can tell this is a very dangerous scenario. They don't know what they're going to get. They walk into a dumb trap. Well, for them, it was a trap, but they made a dumb choice. Again, heroes making dumb choices. There was no indication. Once they realized they walked in, it's abandoned. There was no indication they were going to find Abby's crew in there. And how are you going to go in, two of you in night? It just was a bad plan. Or maybe that was the point. They get in there, they do some investigation, they find a guy who's dead. He's not the Abby crew. They go into a TV studio, it was hard to tell in the dark, but apparently it was a great set, but it was too dark the way they lit it. And it was like a Predator scene. There's all these people hanging up like 7 or 8 dead people, and their guts are coming out. And apparently they're Isaac's crew. Okay. And I don't know what the name of these guys are, but they're not Abby's crew and they're not Fedra. So they all look like douchebags I'd see at the bar trying to get girls. Honestly, they all have crew cuts and they got that douchey look. They had one lady in there. She was, I guess, a douchey chick. But it was all so I'm calling them the douchebaggers. Okay, they look just like douchebags to me. So the douchebaggers come in, and so douchebaggers are dead, hanging up, and then there's a blood trail, and then there's something written on the wall, and what's written on the wall is some kind of weird slogan about their god. These Scar guys follow this prophet lady who's dead or something, and that was weird. It was very bloody. It was very dark. It was creepy. And then Dina has after they see the blood and all the dead people, Dina throws up again, and they tell you why she's doing that. There's the thing to it. It's not just she has a weak stomach, but there's a thing to it. And then Dina goes, "What the fuck is wrong with Seattle?" It was really good. It's a good scene. In that tense moment, and after Take On Me, I'm still recovering from that. I get to this tense moment. It made me laugh really hard. I was like, that's really good. Good writing, good directing, good writing. It was a good beat after that. The camera editing was good. There was a beat. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with Seattle? And then she takes a breath, moves back. There was a nice beat before they cut, which was cool. It made that comedy moment good. It was gold. It was really cool. And then it's super violent, though. A lot of blood. And then, so what happens is, apparently somebody had a radio on or something. One of the dead, now there's no Scar people in there. They were alone with the dead bodies. And apparently somebody had died and like called for reinforcements. And the timing was just right where they'd show up. And then they got in without a problem. Like they have front door. I don't know. Sorry about that. Like the douchebaggers got the key to the front door. I don't know. So anyway, they get in there, and then Bella and Isabel, the actresses, they have to scramble. Very, very tense moment. Very tense. I forgot my water. That's why I'm throat's dry. Very tense moment. Really cool. You're like, how are they going to get out of this? There's all these things in there they can hide behind, and they kind of sneak their way out. Ellie goes up to the staircase. One of the douchebaggers follows up there to see what's going on. Ellie's hiding. She's kind of trapped. She tries to get out. She can't. The window's locked. She confronts the douchebagger, walks in. She's in the corner by a soda machine. She confronts the guy. They get into a battle. She puts him in a chokehold. Impossible for her. Not happening. In real life, a guy that size would never be able, she could not choke him with her arm. She's like, they established she's not big. She really looks like she weighs 115 maybe. Like they have some faraway shots when they're talking outside. She does not look. They specifically do faraway shots where the ladies are talking and they go back and forth. She's not strong. She's just not, So if she had, you could tell she's trying to do the MMA thing, right? With they established she's a trained in MMA, and she's trying to choke the guy out. And I'm like, she's not choking him out, but she starts to. But apparently he's incapacitated to a point, but not enough. And then somebody hears it and comes in, one of the other douchebaggers. It becomes a thing. And then Dina comes in which was a cool moment. Shoots that guy, cool moment. And then Ellie pulls out a knife and stabs the guy that she's choking. Cool. It was cool. It was vicious. And then they escape through that window. Chaos ensues. It's raining now all of a sudden. Now it's raining. It's slippery. They're falling down. They're running for their life. They're getting chased by the douchebaggers who come out of the building. That was cool. They lost me with Ellie choking him. It would not be possible. A guy that size, who's trained, who's already jacked up on adrenaline, who's like amped. You're not sneaking up on him, and he's going to take you out. There's just no way. So, but anyway, we moved past it. But the action was so cool that I was able to move past it. So we get in there. Here's another preposterous moment. Ellie and Dina are like, can't find this way out. They're trapped because they run the wrong way. Everybody does. And then they find a hole where they can climb through they just climb in some random hole, which you don't know where that's going. It's like so small that they can barely get through. They get through and they find themselves in an abandoned train station, which is pretty cool. It's all going to go down there. It's not going to be easy, right? And they're like, oh, we could fit. They can't, right? Great writing, duh. So somehow they don't need to fit. The douchebaggers, they find the other way around. So within minutes, they're coming in and searching for Ellie and Dina in this smashed train rubble. It's like inside of a subway. The trains are flipped over, stuff like that. Inside the trains are a bunch of dead bodies, apparently. We find that out later, a bunch of skeletons. So the douchebaggers are walking around. They're all dressed the same. They look like the guys at the bar trying to pick up chicks. They're throwing flares around. And apparently there's some cortisone, like little vines. And they start getting burnt by the flare. And then it starts riling up all these cortisone dudes. So you can know what happens there, which was cool. It was a cool moment. And finally we get some mushroom daddies. Mushroom daddy shows up at the window, right? A junior mushroom daddy, not the big mushroom daddy, but junior mushroom daddy. Got clickers. They're all over it. There's a cool moment where Dina is there's a wild stuff. The whole break from the Isaac to the break-in to the fleeing to getting stuck in this train station, wild stuff. Really great. So I had to bump up the rating because the action was so good. I had to bump it up. And then so douchebag crew riles up these clickers. And then clickers, finally, after an episode and a half, we got clickers, but we got a bunch. They give it to us. They're bashing windows. They're attacking all these douchebag crew. In the middle of it, Dina and Ellie scramble up into. They're trying to hide. Oh yeah, I got distracted. There's a really cool moment where Dina apparently is the mushroom daddy whisperer or something, the cordyceps whisperer, and she's listening to the different sounds as they're starting to get riled up, and she's doing this count with her finger. Like, so every time you hear a different noise or a voice, she's doing like a count, and she gets to 5, and then Ellie's freaking out. So I guess I'm thinking, is it 5 of them? Like, she's counting off different voices, but I think what she's doing is counting off different, because then the more, I'm thinking 5's not a lot, right? Ellie's not afraid of 5. But the more her finger starts moving, the more you see Ellie like freaking out. Well, it turns out that must be 5 types, right? Not just 5 individuals, but 5 types of cordyceps dudes. And so 5 indicates, you could have 10 times 5, right? It indicates big numbers, right? You're not just going to have one of each. So clearly we got like 300 or 400. It's like massive. So they start attacking so the girls jump up into the train car, get inside. They're running around. It's very frantic. The train car gets invaded. There's dead bodies in there. There's a lot going on. They're freaking out. The acting was amazing because they're starting to like really panic. They, instead of being tough girls, which isn't realistic in that situation, they're starting to like panic and freak out. And it was dope. And you could tell like the actors are like really feeling it. And that's really great. When you get into a scene like that and you get people like really chasing you and zombies and the noise and it's dark and you've got, you have a train car, there's fake skeletons. You're in this incredible environment. It really brings the best out of an actor. And in those situations, you may not know this, but there's different modes of acting. So acting in a situation like that, you have to like amp yourself up. There's different methods to do it. You get yourself really amped up. There's breathing techniques. There's mental. It's crazy. I've been in some classes where they've taught me techniques on how to do that. And you get yourself ramped up and they're like action and you're here and then you can scream or freak out and panic, but it's very physical. So that's intense stuff. And Bella's good at that. Dina's good, or Bella and Isabel really good at that. So they're freaking out. They're running through this train car and they're just panicking. They finally get out. And through circumstance, they find, oh, let's go through this hatch. They get out. They fool them, and then they're like, then the cordyceps like, there they go, and then they get a lead on them. They're running through the subway, which is cool. There's some fences. I don't know how cortisone dudes always break through fences. Like they're just able to break any fence. So then they get to this really cool scene, and this scene was a huge scene for me, and I loved it. So I'm not always down on this show. I'm just down on the stupid stuff. But this was a cool scene. So they get to, they're running through and they get to the turnstiles. It's in a subway, Seattle. I've been to Seattle, but not in the subway. Or maybe I did. So I'm not clear if this is quite how it looks. But there was the turnstiles that kind of go like this. And you got to go, and you like kind of move through. And it's kind of like really kind of freaky, even when there's no problems. You're like, what if I get stuck in there, right? It's got these bars that kind of cross each other. They're kind of in a circle, right? You know what I'm talking about. Like a revolving kind of like a thing to keep you from getting through without paying. And it's really rusty, right? And so Ellie's like, she gets in and she gets herself stuck, which keeps Dina out, right? Because you got to get that clearance. And finally, Ellie gets the clearance, and then Dina gets halfway through, and the cordyceps dudes start crying. And they're freaking out, and like, oh, no, actually, it's one. Sorry, it's one chick. So one chick, one older cordyceps lady, she jumps on him, and she's on Dina. She's on her. It's over. It's curtains. And then Ellie, in this really cool moment, you don't see it coming, sticks her forearm out that's got this one that's already been bitten, and she sacrifices her arm and puts it up there. So Ellie's sacrificed, and then this lady starts gnawing, right? And then Dina, I think, has a gun and shoots the cordyceps chick, and she falls down. And then Dina's freaking out, and she's like, she's like, oh my God, she sacrificed herself. She pushes through. They get out. Then all the 100 cordyceps dudes crash into it, and they're like, and clearly they can't get through, which is like a cool moment because all that went down. Dina got saved. Ellie sacrificed herself. And then the cordyceps. That's the perfect trap for the cordyceps dudes. Like they can't get through that. It's like very strong steel, and it's rusty, and they've already established you can't just push through it. So that's cool. They're saved for a moment there. They get out. They get outside, and then Ellie's looking around like no big deal. And Dina, you see Dina's freaking out. She's starting to cry, and she's got her gun cocked because Ellie just got bit, right? She gave her arm up, which made no sense. She took a bite, and then Ellie's like, no big deal. So Dina's flipping out. She's like, now Ellie has to die. She got bit. She clearly got gnawed on. So Ellie's like rushing into this old movie theater or something. They get in. It's rainy. Like, okay, cool. We can be safe here. She turns around. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, where are they going with this? Because I thought where they go with this is going to determine, I'm going to be honest with you. I told myself, where this goes will determine if I'm going to hate this show the rest of the season, because this moment's really important for me. How do they handle this? Where are we going with it? Okay, so they show Dina crying in the rain with her gun cocked. They give you a visual of the gun ready to go. Clearly, Dina's flipping out. They walk in, and then Ellie turns around, and they did exactly what I wanted them to do. Dina's like, I'm going to kill you. And it's a moment. And Ellie tries to talk her down. She can't really do it. And then we realize in that moment that they don't know she's immune. And I actually thought everybody at Jackson Hole knew that. And I thought that's why. So my mind goes back to like, what? I thought they knew that. And I thought that's why they're treating her like a rock star, because she's immune. They never mentioned it, but they never not mentioned it. I just didn't know the secret was still being a secret. So everybody's got a secret. Secrets will be revealed, including the intentions of the writers. Secrets will be revealed. So Dina's flipping out. And I mean, I got that feeling when they were in the rain and Dina had a gun cocked, but I wasn't quite sure. So Dina says, after all that wild horror, she's like trying to put this together. And it's a great moment. After Ellie's sacrifice, they barely escaped, all these things. Dina is like, I have to kill you. She's like, I can't believe this. Now after this, she's like, kind of like with this, we're having this life is so good, and I can't believe it's come to this. She's like, her life is, it's all crashing in on her. She's gonna kill Ellie. And Ellie goes, well, talks her down. Wait a second. Shows her, look, I'm fine. And goes on this kind of this monologue that was really good. I don't remember all of it, but it was really good. I remember going, okay, that's really good. Her acting, like, they're really good. Their dynamic's good. Their chemistry's good. And then Dina says, she's just really shaky. She's got the gun. She's about to kill her. And it's a very tense moment. You feel, and I'm thinking, is she going to shoot her? And so they did me right. They did everything I thought they should do in that moment, which made sense. They had that tension. I'm thinking she's going to kill her, or she's going to shoot her, not kill her. But, in this, I'm like, anything can happen. They're not going to kill Bella, of course. But I thought, well, maybe she'll shoot her. And then we'll go to a scene of like, her, like a flesh wound or something. I just thought we're going to get a gunshot. That seemed logical. And she talked her out and she said, I'm going to go sit in this chair over here, convenient chair. And goes, I'm going to go to sleep. And then you're going to see I'm going to be fine. Now, I don't know how that would happen when somebody has a gun on you, all that drama and the adrenaline. How do you just go to sleep? And I can work with it. And then Ellie goes to sleep. She wakes up. And there's a flash, there's a light in her eyes, and you see somebody with a gun. I'm thinking, is it not Dina? It kind of looks like Dina. That was weird. It was cool. Ellie's like, look, shows her arm. It's bloody. It was still kind of bloody, which is weird. You'd think it would be dry, but anyway. And then Dina clicks off the light, and she's like, how did you, says something to the effect of, it's a miracle, blah, blah, blah. And she doesn't really question it. She doesn't say, and this is where I get lost. This is where I was like, I'm done with the show. I mean, I'm still watching it, but literally, I just thought, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So what happens is, they, again, it's without Pedro, it's over. So they have this moment where she convinces her that, hey, I'm good. I'm good. And then the light goes off and she pulls the gun down, and then they talk for a second, and then Dina says, I'm pregnant. Okay. So that's the big secret. So then in an unexpected moment, they start making out, all passionate. What? Like, what? Then, like I said earlier, they start undressing. They fall down on the ground. And then Ellie... All right, you got it. Again, this review's X-rated. Ellie pulls down Dina's jeans and starts finger banging her. Starts doing the thing. Go girl, you go girl. And they start making love, I guess. And then they start getting it on, and you cut to a scene of them spooning. They fall asleep and spoon. Like, it's whatever. If you're watching this and you're like, hey, that was a great scene, cool. It just was dumb. Did it make sense? It was dumb in the moment. You never do that. No one just, I'm pregnant and they finger bang me. It just was weird. It was like written by frat dudes. It was like weird fantasy frat dude stuff. Maybe that's what it was about. And so then they sit down, they get up, morning breath. They do this weird thing. They're just not even concerned about the fact that they're on the run. They almost died last night. She almost killed Ellie. Oh yeah, by the way, Ellie's immune. Like, all these bombs dropped. You're pregnant. It does. You don't start banging each other with all. No, it just doesn't work. You just don't start doing that. And I'm approaching it from like like a writer would. I'm approaching it like I'm in the writer's room. Like, if this was proposed in a writer's room, most of the writers would go, that doesn't quite work. But see, it wasn't a writer's room. It was two dudes running the show, and they're telling everybody what to write. And these guys have absolute power, and nobody's telling them this is shitty. It was dumb. It was stupid. It was really stupid. Again, I'm not opposed to the lesbian sex scene. Go at it. Look, I want them all to bang each other. I guess I have a problem with it. It just didn't work in that scene. It's not even about them. Not even about that. Not even about that. It's just about it didn't work. And if they had done that in the tent, look, if they had done that in the tent last week, I could have worked better with that. That would have made more sense. This not making sense after all that drama. It's just so disjointed. Look, this show without Pedro's dead. Now they're just doing crazy stuff. Like it's dead. So that goes on. They spoon. Then they have this weird conversation about they're married now. Oh, we're together now. And Jesse? Oh, Jesse's baby? Whose baby is it? It's our baby. We're raising the baby, right? I'm the husband. Weird. I mean, not that that's a weird conversation if you're doing it at the right time, but none of that made any sense to like the moment of you're in super duper jeopardy. It's just made no sense. Like that made it worse for me. Like, okay, I can try to work with the sex. I'm pregnant. Let's have sex. We're on the run. I can work that whole whatever. But now they're planning a family. It didn't make sense. It just makes sense. So you might be listening to it going, I'm so out of touch. I guess so. I'm just trying to watch a TV show and not be annoyed by the preposterousness of it. So that lost me. I was super lost. I'm like, so they're married now? And then they start hearing all these explosions and hearing stuff on the walkies. Okay, now we're back in the action scene. The disjointedness, I just again blown away at how disjointed this fucking show was. So now it's like, okay, now we're back. And then they're worried, and then they go on the roof or something, and then they have binoculars and they're seeing like a battle in Seattle. Now, I'm not sure. Is it because the cordyceps got riled up and now they're battling cordyceps all night? Or is it like different factions battling each other? Is it the Scar dudes? They don't battle the Seraphimite Scar dudes battling Isaac's douchebaggers. Is it the junior leaguers, the junior fireflies? They don't give you any clarity. It's just a battle going on. And the CG shitty. They're like, cool, we don't got any money left for the CG. Let's just do this shitty CG. So they give you this shitty, fuzzy CG Seattle. And then Dina's like, you see, she's got a map. She's like all map quest. You see this? You see that? Oh yeah. Earlier on, they're pulling out pregnancy tests, which was like so cringe. See, I peed on this. Oh, and then Bella Ramsey's character's like, I don't know what a pregnancy. I don't know how you pee on a pregnancy test. I'm like, just no. It's just no. Like, no, it's low IQ theater. It's just no. You're not. If you're that mature to start shooting everybody and going on a rampage and then finger banging your girlfriend and you don't know how a pregnancy test works, come on, man. And you're like, it's just no. And then they're on the roof. Okay, back up to the roof. And then Dina's like map questing, and she's like the Jeep. She got this paper map. Oh, see that white building? That's where we gotta go. So that the building they went to in this episode, that's not the building. It's another building. Okay, so it happens to be right in the middle of the battle, and then Ellie's like, you can't go because now we're together. It's different. They're like, I've got to go with you. It's like, come on, man. Now they're all right. So I have to end this. I have to end this. I'm losing my mind. So there you go. So they get married. They have sex. They get married. She's pregnant, and they're like, it's Jesse. It's the three of us. It's us and Jesse. Apparently, Jesse has no no say in who's going to be the father of his kid. He's not the father. It's Ellie. I get it, man. Look, I get it. I appreciate what you're trying to do. I appreciate it greatly. And look, there's nothing wrong with a loving family, loving ladies wanting to raise the baby, Jesse's baby. I don't know what kind of family court they have in this Jackson Hole. Apparently, they better get the family court warm because it's gonna be weird. I appreciate where they're going. I'm cool with it, but it's a fucking action show. Can you just fucking keep it an action show? I mean, come on. You really annoyed the shit out of me with the romance stuff because it doesn't flow. It doesn't work. And it's annoying to watch it now. I'm going to be watching next week going, okay, is this going to be a soap opera or a legit action show? Maybe I should just get the memo that it's now a romance, but that's fine. Or maybe they're setting it up to where, you know, I mean, I don't know, but I can just see this happening. I can see them setting up to where they, let me get to that. Oh, here we go. I could see them. We'll end cap it here. I could see them setting it up to where Ellie has a choice, pregnant Dina or revenge or something. I don't know. Dina gets trapped by Abby, and then I don't know. I mean, I could see that being the thing, but I thought they were going to do that with Joel. I don't know. Make a choice. I don't know. I just don't know where they're going. So sorry, this carbonation is getting to me. So 3 stars on this one. This is the worst episode of the season. Episode 4 is terrible. It's really reminding me of House of the Dragon, where the first half was so shitty that I was so completely over it. And then right when I was over it, they turned it around and they were able to, season 1 of House of the Dragon, not season 2. Season 1, they were able to, season 2, they kind of turned it around a bit. But season 1, they were able to turn it around and the end was really good. The last 3 or 4 episodes were really good. Will they do that here? I don't know. I don't have hope. So 3 stars was the worst episode of the season. The ridiculous music video was so dumb. It really was. I will stop and say this, though. It was Bella Ramsey's voice. Beautiful voice. It was a cool rendition of the song. I have a problem with that. I just have a problem with them forcing me to watch a music video and Dina like drooling and like googly eyes like she's trying to, sleep with her like during and it's like, come on, you're in the middle of a fucking revenge hunt here. So heroes do not act smart in this one. Another one where they do dumb shit. Like, oh, let's go into this little hole and of rubble. The 2 of us can fit. This can't go wrong. That was dumb. Isaac though, so what brought this from a 1.5 to a 2 star, which is pretty much a 1 star for me until Isaac came in and did his evil thing, and then the action scene was really outstanding. The action scene was so good that I was tempted. I was going to give it a 4 stars until the weird sex stuff at the end, the weird marriage scene, until that went down. That's where they lost me. So you have to keep the episode jointed. You cannot have a disjointed episode. It's not good TV. It wears people out. It's not interesting and it annoys people. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's got a problem with this. And so the action scene was really great. So I gave it the star for that. And then Dina's line, "What the fuck is wrong with Seattle?" was really great. I did not misspell fuck, by the way. I spelled it like that for fun. That was great. So those 3 things brought it back for me, but the finger banging scene just ruined it. It really, if they had done it in the beginning, I'll just say this. Let's say they did in the beginning after the tank scene, in the music store. That would have made more sense to me. Honestly, they're in a music store. They feel protected. They can make noise. That would have made more sense. Then I would have been okay with it. But where they put it was just fucking dumb. It really was. It made all that action so much worse. I could have seen them do do a kiss because, oh my gosh, you're safe. Okay, cool. You're not infected. But she didn't even test it. I thought she was going to be like, okay, this is what went through my mind. When she realized that she wasn't infected and she turned the light off, I thought she was going to be like, I'm going to watch you and I don't want you to touch me. I thought they were going to give it some time, which is what you would do in a normal situation in the show. That's what people would do. You wouldn't just start kissing them and like, no big deal without checking it. She didn't even check her. She didn't even make sure she was clear. That made no sense to me. So for that, I couldn't even give it more than 3 stars. Yes, I said it. Okay. Finger banging ruined it. I said it. So anyway, sorry about the X-rated review, guys. So it was really, again, I'm just really blown away at how bad the writing is on this show. And my last thoughts are this fucking show, without Pedro, it's dead. This show's good. So to me, this show is done. It's not coming back. Let's see. I'll keep watching it. and I'll keep reviewing it. So please follow and sub, follow on YouTube, follow on X. Really appreciate it if you're watching on X. Really appreciate that. If you're watching on Rumble, appreciate that. Give me a follow on the Rumble machine. Just so you know, again, you're watching the Jason J. Daniels show. I do TV reviews. I also do sports, man. I do politics. I do some cool stuff. I've got some really great interviews coming up. I interview politicians. I interview actors and comedians. I've got some great interviews coming up this month. And I also do TV stuff. So stay in touch with me and follow me if this is the first time watching. If this is the second time watching, third time, or if you watched me before, please put your comments down. Really appreciate that stuff. And please follow and sub, guys. So that is it. And, I got to tell you, I got to say from the bottom of my heart, I really, unless you give me a nasty comment, I really appreciate you guys. And I appreciate everything that you do for the cause. And I really appreciate you following me. And you have a great night. Take care. Still can't believe what I watched.